Y'all know what tonight it is. It's Sunday night. And it's Black College Experience Sunday nights on Spreaker. I am Derek Thomas, one half of your Black College Experience team. And I have with me in Atlanta the wonderful, the CEO, Keisha Kelly. What's going on, Kels?
Hey everybody, of course it's Keisha. I'm on my way back from Mobile. Wonderful time in Mobile from the Gulf Coast Challenge. If you are rolling with us, we got a pretty good show tonight. A lot of topics, a lot of good games, a lot of upsets, a lot of shockers. The number to call in is 719-373-6861. And that PIN number is 49170. Before we go any further, I do, as my father would always say, I would be remiss if I didn't do this. Definitely want to send prayers to the Mississippi Valley family.
Most
definitely got to send prayers over to Valley. When tragedy hits, it hits us all, and we are definitely one human. We're one SWAC family. We're one HBCU family. But to Mississippi Valley, to your Delta Devil family, to the Brothers of Omega Psi Phi, to everybody involved, it's just a sad situation. And definitely praying for everybody over there.
Exactly, and we also have my line brother on, Patrick Perry. Definitely want to pray for the Valley family, the members of were all of them members of Q Psi Phi, Pat?
Yeah, I mean, I believe I saw that brother at the game yesterday. So I was listening to old UGK song. One day you hear it and the next day you gone. Right before I went to bed yesterday, and you wake up and see that, like, wow.
Right. So prayers to his family, young man, on his Black College Experience. Unfortunately, God called him home. Terrible accident. I want to pray for the other two young men involved that they recover and are able to, resume a normal life. So definitely, when something like this happens, yes, Keisha, we do come together. All that beef stuff goes out the window, and we come together like the family that we are. So it's a sad day today for that young man and his family. So. Oh man, so that's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to really focus on football at times when something like that happens. But that's why we want to let our listeners know, and anyone who may listen to our show, that we are not only are we a sports show, we're also community based, HBCU based, and we care about HBCUs from the ones that win to the ones that don't, to the ones that don't have any sports. So when anything happens at our HBCUs, that's a tragedy. It touches all of us. And being that this is our alma mater that this young man was attending, it hits home for Patrick, myself, and our guest just joined, who's also a Valley alum. And I want to introduce to everyone the Assistant Athletic Director and Senior Woman Administrator for, I gotta say this, Alcorn State University, Danielle Douglas-Ferguson. What's going on, Danielle?
Hello, how are you doing?
I'm doing
all right. Fine. How are you?
First, I'm doing all right. First, I want to introduce you to my co-host and the founder of Black College Experience, Keisha Kelly.
Hello, how you doing?
I'm fine. How are you?
And then
I'm doing awesome.
We have another Valley alum.
Now I'm gonna have to borrow out of Derek's book. Exactly. Now I'm surrounded by Valley.
It's
normally him surrounded by Southern. Yeah, I'm surrounded by Valley.
That's right. That's that's really how it should be. We need to change that every week and get you surrounded by Delta Devils every week.
Yeah.
I kind of like this. I feel at home now. I don't feel threatened by you Jaguars. But Danielle, I'm very glad that you were able to join us, and it's just kind of weird how this kind of worked out because we went to Valley together. I was a couple years ahead of you, and then we caught up with each other on Facebook. I think you had just, accepted the position at MUW. And then when I saw it come across my timeline that you were going to, because I talked to you about coming on the show then. And then with you coming home to the SWAC, even though it's not home for you, it's home to pay the bills, but we know where home is. I had to jump on this opportunity to get you on and just listen that you talk about, first off, your Black college experience as a student athlete, and then, of course, your career in coaching athletics, track and field, and also your journey as an athletics administrator. So again, my friend, I want to welcome you to the Black college experience.
Thank you. So you want me to just jump right into it?
Well, I'm going to let Keisha start off first. I'm a gentleman, ladies first.
All right.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you. So I guess my first question would be, because it's always seeing a woman, an African-American woman in these roles, where we're no longer asking for a seat at the table. We are coming to the table, and sometimes we bring the table up. So being a woman and transitioning into this role, are there any feats that you have come across, anything that you come across as far as like with like your male counterpart, or anybody, like as far as doubts, anybody coming to you like, hey, like you're not supposed to be here type of thing?
No, I haven't experienced that so far. I just finished up my second week, so I can honestly say that everybody's been welcoming. I really think it's about trying to see what she's going to be able to do, if she's going to be able to bring any change. But so far, everybody's been welcoming. And my background of being a coach before I came into this role, I think has really, I would say, helped that transition with the coaches.
Okay, so now talk about your coaching time and how that is. What that was going to be my next question. Talk about how you think that being that coach has helped you transition into this actual role.
Well, the role of the senior women's administrator, I tell them my role is to be a liaison between coaches and the athletic director, giving the athletic director a coaching perspective. But because I have served in the interim role as SWA early in my coaching career, being able to give the coaches a little perspective as far as on the administrative side. So sometimes, coaches may think the AD making certain decisions on information that they may just not be privileged to. So just kind of giving them both sides, but also being a liaison between student athletes with coaches as well, since I was a student athlete, reminding coaches that student athletes are students and athletes, and making sure they're well-rounded, and understanding and letting the student athletes know the coach's role as well. So I think just being able to be a student athlete, a coach, and a coach that served as an administration before has kind of helped me out in this role with coaches, student athletes, and my AD.
Yes, indeed.
So what does your typical day-to-day look like? And I know it probably changes from day to day depending on the season, depending on the sport. What does your typical day look like? Because I know what my typical day looks like, and I know it can be a whole bunch of things thrown in there. Do you have a typical, okay, this is what I do at 8 o'clock, this is what I do at 9 o'clock. Okay, this is what you're doing at 9:30. Do you have a typical day-to-day, or is it like, okay, boom, 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 they just throwing stuff at you on a day-to-day basis?
Well, it can be thrown at you day-to-day. But typically within these last 2 weeks, I know I'm going to have a game day operation meeting on Tuesdays that gets started at 10 o'clock. It may last from 30 minutes to an hour if we have a home game. And then from there, it's just kind of, just don't know what the day may be. Like last week on a Thursday, I met with 2 recruits from basketball because they were having recruits on campus. I had to meet with a new candidate. We just hired a new tennis coach, but she came back on campus to do a lunch meeting with the tennis players. Just had to kind of meet with different departments because I still am learning like key people who I'm going to be in contact with throughout the year. So I wouldn't say my days are typical. You never know what you got going on for that day, which is exciting for me, because I don't kind of like things that's redundant all the time. But I just know weekly I'm going to have meetings. It may be staff meetings, maybe administrative meetings, maybe game day operation meetings. I have sport oversight over different sports, so a lot of times my days are going to be going out to games, to going to practice, traveling with teams. So it varies.
Okay, Derek.
Well, first off, this is what I want. I want to take it back to the very beginning. I want you to talk about your recruitment to Valley and talk about your athletics career as a student athlete, and like who else was, what other schools were recruiting you, and let's just talk about some of the accolades you won while you were a student athlete at the Valley.
All right. I went to Whitehaven High School. I was a standout track and field athlete there. I was part of the first state championship team, and so from there I was recruited by Jackson State, Mississippi Valley State, Austin Peay University, and Arkansas State in Jonesboro. And so I chose to Valley. I just went on a recruiting trip to Valley, saw the campus, fell in love with the atmosphere there. I also went to Arkansas State, but I chose Valley. So while I was at Mississippi Valley State, it was definitely a family atmosphere. You feel like you're right at home.
That's right.
And I was only an hour and a half, 2 hours down the road from Memphis, Tennessee. While I was at Valley, I gained MVP of the team. I was also a scholar athlete because through my years there, I maintained a 3.6 GPA. I would definitely say I was a well-rounded person.
Yeah.
I pledged the best sorority on earth, Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. And so I just had a great experience there as a student athlete. I graduated in 2004, and I quickly got my start as far as coaching. I was honored and blessed to receive an assistant coaching position in 2005. I always tell people that my transition was very quick because in 2006, my head coach was let go, so I immediately became the interim head coach.
Yes.
And I did that from July of 2006 to January 2007. And then they brought another coach in because, of course, I was young, so I guess they felt like at that time maybe I couldn't go in both programs. But then again, I was blessed in August 2008 to be the head women's track coach. So Miss Kelly, that goes back into when you asking me as far as being a young black woman to being able to fulfill some of these roles that they may feel like we can't because we're young or whatever the case may be. But I was not given the opportunity for the position then, but then they called me in 2008 and I was to be over the women, but then again there's the opportunity to be over the men program in 2012. And I accepted the position, but that's when I got hit with, is she going to be able to handle the men's program? Or when I told people I'm the head coach or, the cross-country track and field program, you had some men say, you over the men's too? I was like, yes, I am. Well, how's that going for you? It's doing excellent. My first year over the men's program, we won SWAC championship, and I was named coach of the year.
Yeah.
And our women won second. In the second year over the men's program, we won SWAC championship again. So, it's been great to kind of break down those stereotypes or barriers where people think women can't do things or can't lead men and things of that sort.
And here's the thing: when I read that, I knew you at Valley, And even though I was a couple years ahead of you, we knew each other while at the Valley. And I would come to the track meets and see y'all run. I would try to go and support all the sports. So when I caught back up with you and saw the success that you had in your life and your career, I wasn't surprised, because especially with you coaching men and then coaching women and being successful, I do have a question. How did it feel when you first got that position to be questioned, and then for you to win and beat your male counterparts? Did they kind of change their tune when you went into the room?
Well, they never, it's kind of like they give you a handshake, or they just say, man, you did an excellent job. They never said anything as far as, I'm sorry that, we doubted you or anything like that. But, me winning and being successful, that was my, I guess you say, payback or my testament. I always say, let your actions speak,
right,
for you. So, it was just a proud day, and it was just awesome to be able to do some great things for my alma mater. Being a student athlete at Valley, I knew where our programs were. So be able to be a coach and kind of take it in a different direction, and a better direction, it just was awesome. Being third on the women and men's side, that's the highest our team in track and field has been in history there. And so I was just happy to, help excel the programs. But I always say I could not have done it alone. I always attest to, I've had some great assistant coaches and student athletes to make this thing happen.
Now let's talk about your career after you left the Valley. When you decided to, leave the nest and venture out, talk about some of the places you went and the successes, trials, or I guess you can say accomplishments you achieved at your other positions.
Okay. From Valley, I went to the University of Wisconsin Rural Falls. That's a Division III institution and a PWI. I'm grateful for my experience there. It was different for me, and it was challenging in some ways. I was the only African-American person in the athletic department there. Not only that, I was the only African-American person and woman in the conference in track and field.
Wow.
So that was a very different experience for me. I say I did have some challenges along the way, but through those challenges, I was still able to garner some success. There, the first year, the ladies, both programs were at the bottom. That second year, we moved up to fifth. My third year, they moved up to third. Our ladies program moved up to third, and that tied with the highs in their school history on cross country. And our men and women, the first year I got there as well, our men went to nationals. We had one guy that went to nationals, and I had a person to go to nationals every year that I was there in cross country and track and field. So that was very exciting to move the program in a higher direction. Some athletes wasn't very receptive in the very beginning. So you had to kind of come back some of those challenges.
Wow.
But once they got a chance to know who I was, and I got a chance to understand the culture there, we were able to, have some success and continue to move the program in a steady direction.
And talk about, did you have like a fish out of water moment while you were coaching in that environment? As far as not just with your coaching or your administrators, but then you say you've received flack from athletes. I mean, where an athlete really shouldn't have a place to give a coach flack. You're an athlete. You're supposed to be respectful of your coaches, regardless of if they're a man, woman, white, or black. And to see you succeed in that environment, that just lets people know, anyone who looks at your resume and they may say, "Oh, she went to Valley." And of course, when people say, when they look at Valley, they want to look at us as being a school who doesn't win. We may not win in football, but your record shows we won in track and field and cross country while you were the coach. We won in softball underneath Lee Smith. We've won in track recently. So when they see your resume and see Mississippi Valley State, and then when they see what's the name of the school? I see it's
University of Wisconsin River Falls.
And they see that, and even though you moved down to Division III, I guess you could say, was it a tougher challenge than coaching at your alma mater? Did you feel, because at Valley you're comfortable, you know the area, the lay of the land, because you went to school there for 4 years. You also received your master's in criminal justice, so you knew the lay of the land in Itta Bena. But at this school, you didn't know the lay of the land, and then you receive, I guess, some turmoil, and you were able to break down those walls and barriers.
Yeah, and also being Division III was different than Valley. Valley's Division I, so you're able to offer scholarships. Division III, you have no scholarships to offer because, Division III doesn't allow that. So I was really going out selling myself and what I can do for the program. So I was selling my vision and also selling the academics of the university as well as the facilities and things like that. So, that was a little different for me. So I had to kind of find different angles. And so I was able to be successful. Year one was a little tough. Year two was better because some people, I'm the only, I would say, spec in the department, they were a little hesitant about, sending their kids there as well, too. Some of the questions I got was, where are you going to stay? How long are you looking to stay? We see you're from the South. What brings you up here? Because keep in mind, they're looking at your resume or your bio, so they're reading up on you before you even come into them because they want to see where this coach from. Has she had some success? Do she know what she's doing? So I had to kind of overcome all of those things, even with like I said, with the current athletes. So some things were about the culture too. Coming from Division I, used to you be at practice on time. We're not missing unless it's for classes or something, a death or something in the family. But you had kids missing because this was the opening of hunting season. So I kind of had to understand the culture there to make sure they wasn't just blatantly disrespecting me, and then just kind of put some rules and policies in place that wasn't previously in place, and let them know if they couldn't follow these, then, maybe it's time to move on. And so once they saw what I was about and was able to set structure and precedent, and they saw that I knew what I was talking about, things got better overall.
So
and, we started having some success.
Student athlete decide, I'm not coming to practice. I'm not going to come to practice because I'm tired and I'm sleepy and I got a test. I want to go hunt deer.
Correct. Down there, they close school down Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Thursday and Friday, get ready for the hunting season.
Really? I need to go to school there. Well, I ain't going to hunt. I just want to go hunt to go to school. So PP, I want to ask, PP, do you have a question for Danielle?
No, you go ahead.
Okay, Keisha?
Yes. So, and I'm listening to you saying that they closed down the schools and Derek is laughing, but honestly, that's no different from Grambling and Southern closing down for Mardi Gras, same thing. So that's about equivalent. They closed the schools down for, I guess it's just the culture of the season or whatever they're celebrating. So it's about equivalent. It's about the same thing. But my question is, and this is something that when you've had a chance to work in different environments, D1, D2, D3, whatever it is, and you go across the board and you look at these different schools, and then we look back at how important is it to you, or what do you tell your athletes about the importance of choosing HBCUs now that they're in, or that you're in a HBCU, and the importance of it? Because we know a lot of times we're looked down on as, oh, they're HBCU. Their program won't be strong. Their football team won't be this. their team won't compete at that. What do you tell those athletes about the program?
Well, I tell my athletes, and even my son, because I have a son that's in high school, that, you should give HBCUs a serious look. It's nothing like going to a HBCU. To me, you're more than just a Social Security number, versus going to bigger schools. Teachers know you by name. They share a value, in your success, on how successful you're going to be there. I talk to them about the importance of using the Career Placement Center, and it's just like a family. Like I said, it's just like a family, from the teachers there to the cafeteria. As a student athlete, I knew the cafeteria workers. I knew all the workers in the student union. I still contact some of my professors today. They have a stake in your success. So the importance and the value of an HBCU education is big and huge. Even athletics, going to strength and conditioning. A lot of times there's not more than 2 and 3 strength. It's like 2 or 3 strength and conditioning coaches, but they're taking time to work with you to get your balance and coordination right, because sometimes student athletes we get from at HBCU, sometimes they were great athletes in high school, but sometimes there may have been a football or basketball coach who was the track coach. So that kid was just running off her talent. So now at HBCU, you have the staff that's going to take the time and nourish and build their body up to be successful on the football or the track or the basketball field. So it's nothing like a HBCU in terms of the education you're going to get, just how they build you up as a person. I don't think you get that. I know you don't get that at a PWI, just have that self-pride of just being a black woman or a black man in society. So they have a stake in your success once you leave college.
And so what is your recruitment like? When you're out recruiting, do you have a certain method to your recruiting?
Correct. So depending on what school I'm at, like I was at Mississippi Valley State, I sold the academic programs first. I sold that to the kid as well as the parent. I talked about internships, to prepare you for a career after college. I talked about what I did in terms of study hall, mandatory for freshmen and incoming students from junior college. And after your freshman year, you have to maintain at least a 2.5. If you had a 2.4 and below, you're required to go to study hall, and they had a certain amount of hours, because I was letting them know, as well as their parents know, that I have a stake in their success. I want them to be successful in the classroom, and if they're not successful in the classroom, they can't even compete out on the track. So my method to recruiting was selling the academics of an HBCU, just like I was telling you, you're not a Social Security number when you come here, and selling what I can do in terms of track coaching and track and field, breaking down Monday through Friday what they can expect, traveling when we travel on the weekends and things of that sort. So that was my method. And, of course, when I'm bringing recruits on campus, I'm bringing them when it's homecoming, when we're playing Jackson State, when there's a big game, so they can truly experience the HBCU experience, making sure they see the band,
Now
see the step shows.
Now, you were coaching at Valley the last time we beat Jackson State, I think, in 2012. So did you have any good recruits with you that day?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, I got the basket in that. But now let's talk about your journey after you left the Division III school. So after you left the Division III school, where did you go?
Went to the University of Mississippi for Women. I was challenged with building their track and field program. They never had a track and field program there. They were just bringing athletics back in 2017, and so this was going to be the first year that they had track and field.
Okay, and then you decided to come back home to the SWAC, and Alcorn lured you away.
Yes, well, my end goal was always to move into administration. I guess I failed to mention in 2008, 2009, I was asked to be SWA in the interim role. And then after a couple of years, I was asked to do it for permanently, but I was still so young in my coaching career, I wasn't ready to move into administration. So the opportunity presented itself while I was at MUW. So after coaching 14 years, I thought it was time to give administration a shot.
Yes. So so like while you're at Alcorn, I mean, do you think what you gonna do to scratch that coaching itch? I mean, with you being go ahead.
Having coaching oversight, I'm still able to go to their practice. I'm still able to travel for them. So I'm still a coach at heart in terms of I'm going to be cheering and rooting for the athletes because that's natural. And one of my sports oversight is track and field. So I definitely won't be out there trying to take over the program or anything like that, but I will be cheering for them. And, if they have a question that they want my opinion on, I definitely give that to them. So I think I get my itch scratched just by being a part of going to the sporting event.
Yes. And before we let you go, I got to ask you, our Delta Devils visited Lorman this past Saturday. And, of course, Alcorn has been the beast of the East and definitely the beast of the SWAC the past couple of years. We put up a good fight, but the Braves put the game away. So how did it feel, working put you on the spot, working for the enemy?
Well, sitting in the stands, I was rooting inside for MVSU because, of course, a lot of people was asking me, who you rooting for? And so I said, well, I have to go with who's currently paying my bills. But but I definitely was looking for Valley to put on a good show, and they did make some great plays.
Yes.
But Alcorn is definitely a tough school right now going up against.
Now I know when they start playing Devil's Gun, I know you're singing, right?
Right.
Yeah,
right.
You can take the Delta Devil out the Delta, but you can't take the Delta Devil out the Devil. So, because when I worked at Jackson State for about almost a year, I got picked on constantly by my co-workers and my supervisors because I let it be known. Yeah, y'all pay my bills, but I'm rooting for Valley to beat y'all. But I know it's different with you being in athletics administration because I was in computer services. So it was a little different for me. I could still keep my athletics loyalty. But with you working in athletics, you have to, and being a coach, you've done that. I mean, you have to be professional. So, and I know I'm putting you on the spot. I got to pick at you because it is Alcorn. You know what I'm saying? It is Alcorn. Them two schools we definitely want to beat. If we beat Alcorn and Jackson State at Valley on football, we're happy. We want to be there in other schools too. But if we beat Alcorn and Jackson State, we got state bragging rights because we're known as the little brother of Jackson State and Alcorn in the state. And right now Alcorn has been successful, so it was good to see a coach Dance put on a good performance, and of course just the overall talent of Alcorn. That quarterback y'all got, and he's not even a starter, Felix Harper. But before we let you go, Kels, do you have any more questions for AD?
I don't.
Ferguson? Okay.
No, I don't.
Well, Danielle, I want to thank you for being our guest tonight. Learned a lot about your career going forward, and looking forward to watching you be successful at Alcorn. And I know you're going to do well there because one thing that I've noticed in your career, everywhere you have gone in your career, you have been successful. And I think that is one reason why Alcorn decided to hire you. I wouldn't, of course. I had no information privy to those discussions, but just looking at everywhere you've been, starting with your alma mater, and starting in Wisconsin, and then had you stayed at MUW, I have no doubt recruiting athletes in that area, in the GTA, you would have built that program to success. But as grown-ups, we have to make tough decisions, and you made a great career move. Even though it's at Alcorn, it's a great career move, you know, and I'm looking forward to you being successful. And Robbie is awesome. I mean, like, I just love his. Does he still wear his purple suit?
Yes.
Yes, I mean, that guy, when I first met Rob, he had that purple suit on. And, you know, some people try to, that suit's bad. That's a bad suit. So, you know, he was very, of course, with me knowing you personally, I still want to go through the proper channels. And Robbie was more than helpful with securing and your interview. And now that you've been on the Black College Experience, if there's a time you want to call in and talk about HBCU sports, you're family now. You've been family, but now you've been a guest. You can call in anytime you want. If you want to call in and talk about Alcorn, I promise not to mute you. You know.
Appreciate that.
Yes, ma'am.
That. I do want to mention before I go, you talked about the purple suits. Mm-hmm. Alcorn, within the last couple of years, built a center called the SAFE Center, which is Student Athletes Family Enhancement, and they have a room. It's called the Clothing Closet, where they have purple suit jackets. And these are for student athletes that may not have a sports coat or a suit jacket and looking to do an interview maybe on campus or an internship type deal. Mm-hmm. And they can come by the suit store and get a suit that's tailored to them to go out to be able to look professional to do their interview. So I thought that was neat and pretty big.
Yeah, I mean, that's amazing.
It is, because what you're looking at now is you're taking them from not only being the student athlete, but you're now putting them in the professional, putting them up to be a professional. If they're interviewing, if they're doing an on-campus interview, or they're doing something on camera, now they can look professional. They're still the student athlete, but you're also taking care of them in another realm. As to, like, you know, we see it with the Alabamas, the LSUs, the Texases. But when you see someone take that type of thing, and that's innovative, that's forward thinking, because you're not just about sports, you're about also grooming and growing that athlete as well. And honestly, that's something that everybody should probably adopt. Mm-hmm. I know that Southern does it as far as like the school, as far as the athletes by themselves, I don't know. But I think that's a model that other schools should mimic for athletes, because it's a very good idea.
I agree.
Yeah. I want to share that, because I don't know how many people are listening, but that's just one example of some great things that Alcorn is doing, and I know other HBCUs are doing that. The information is not getting out there, and that's positive. So.
Now, I have to say this, even though I was raised not to like Alcorn, I have to say Alcorn has done a great job with improving its campus. I mean, the campus is beautiful. Can't believe I'm saying that. And I have to also say, out of the football games that I've gone to, their tailgate experience is great also. I mean, like, I was amazed, like I'm actually enjoying myself at Alcorn. I'm not supposed to be this happy.
Yeah, I know within the last 2 years, too, they built a parking lot just for RVs. Mm-hmm. That holds up to 60 or 70 RVs. So now, and they're selling out on those as well.
And then of course, if Alcorn continues its winning ways, and with the SWAC rules being that the number one team hosts the SWAC championship, you will get a chance to, I guess, be a part of preparing. You know, I don't know how that goes, but I'm pretty sure you'll have an integral role in that. But I want to thank you for calling in, and you're welcome to call in Black College Experience anytime.
Thank you very much, and it was such an honor and privilege to be on your show today.
Thank you, Danielle.
Thank you.
All right. Man. See, excellence comes out of the valley, Keisha. Excellence comes out of the valley. You see that, right?
All right, let's take a commercial break before we hop into the next segment.
All right, we'll be right back with more Black College Experience.
I already knew that I was going to go to college, from a young age. I definitely want to major in political science. After that, I'm going to get my law degree. Then I'm going to come back to Detroit, boost the economy, become the mayor or something, try to make the situation better for other people. I feel like I owe it to the city. I'm determined. It's going to happen. My name is Justin, and I am your dividend.
All right, we're back with more Black College Experience. We just completed an amazing interview with Alcorn Assistant Athletic Director and Senior Woman Administrator Danielle Douglas-Ferguson. And now we're ready to talk about football. Now, we may not get through all the games, but Keisha, how we want to do it? Just want to talk about the biggest impact games of the weekend. Keisha. PP, you there?
Yeah.
Okay. Keisha, unmute your phone. Okay, we just lost Keisha. But we're just going to, until she comes back, we're going to talk about the big games this past weekend. And there was a lot of big games this past weekend. None more important than Southern University asserting themselves, and I guess you can say, answering a lot of questions as they struggled to start the season, and they beat UAPB, who had been opening eyes, PP, this early season. But Keisha's Jaguars handled business and put the Lions in their place. Now we have Keisha back. We're just talking about your Jaguars, Kels. So talk about your Jaguars asserting themselves against the Arkansas Pine Bluff Lions and letting them know that the Jaguars are still the cat to beat in the West.
I think coming off of a 21-27 defeat against Florida A&M was kind of a push, kind of a wake-up call, even though it was an out-of-conference game that truly didn't count except for bragging rights. I think it kind of put them in a slump, and it kind of woke them up to see that they're going into SWAC play. And being that Coach Thomas and the University of Arkansas Pine Bluff, the Golden Lions, they were playing really well. 3-1, they beat out opponents, and they really beaten their opponents. But I think they were really comfortable. They were really comfortable, and they were like, okay, well, we see what Southern did last week. They lost, so it's a possibility. We're playing at home. We've been gunning, and we got a lot of steam. It's a possibility that we can win, which I really didn't care how great you played. I still wasn't going to pick them to be Southern. It just wasn't happening.
You know what? I'm not ashamed.
Now, honestly, I thought it would have been a closer game. I didn't think it was going to be 31-7. I thought it would have been like a 28-24, somewhere like that. But I didn't think it would be 31-7. Now, that I did not see.
Same
I didn't
here.
think it was going to be like that.
And since you brought up picks, we got to congratulate Keisha Kelly. She scored the most points in our BCE HBCU football pick'em with 46. But being that she is the CEO, she doesn't qualify to win the prizes. So the first place total goes to Rashad Brass. He scored 45 points, and I came in third with 44. So, Keisha, how does it feel to be number one in the pick'em this week before we go ahead?
I'm very sad that I don't qualify. Very sad.
Can't win.
But I have. This is like I did that in Texas. The first week of NFL football, that kicked off. I came in. I was 12-4, and I ain't won since. I've been off ever since. Every Thursday, I mess up my pick. Thursday night football is horrible for me for some reason. I can't get it together now.
Yes, indeed. Now, the next big game we want to talk about in the SWAC is a game that you attended, a game that Black College Experience is a co-sponsor on, a game that is very near and dear to your heart, the Gulf Coast Classic. So let's talk about that game and your overall experience of being a co-sponsor for the second straight year of this new emerging classic game featuring a SWAC school and HBCUs as a whole.
Well, got an opportunity coming back from Mobile to attend the Gulf Coast Challenge once again. This year was Alabama, A&M, and Central State. Final number was 11,590 people in attendance. The thing that was different about this Globe Coach Challenge is that instead of two bands at halftime, you had three. So you had Talladega, Central State, and A&M all performing. And you had like a fifth quarter battle of the band type deal. So it was really good. But I tell you, there were some moments there. Final score was 63-20. Alabama A&M, they were really brutal with Central State, and it was just even with special teams, it was a lot of fumbles there. But they still, even with those fumbles, they still turning that ball over. They still managed to do what they do, 63-20. They still managed to put that game away. And got a chance to see Coach Pearl. For people that don't know, Coach Pearl, which is Central State's head coach, he did coach 13 years at Alabama A&M. He 2013 was at A&M. He's also coached at Morehouse. He's coached at Morris Brown. So he played at Tuskegee. So he's been around quite a few HBCUs. But
gotta get
I did it. Yes, and when that's one of the things I'm working on, trying to get him on. One of his frat brothers was talking about it. So he's been around quite a few places, but at the end he was like, y'all beat my. He's like, y'all whoop my butt. That's what he was saying. But it was all in good grace. I mean, it was a great parade, just a great atmosphere. They threw so much stuff off the float, but it really was. It was a great atmosphere. And for people that don't know, one of the things with being a host sponsor, one of the things we got to do was have an ad in a souvenir. And of course, I'm not a IT person. I don't know how to do any of that. So Derek created the whole ad. The ad looks awesome, and I can't take credit for that because I don't know how to put it together. I told Derek put it together in about an hour and 10 minutes or something. So the ad looks awesome. And, of course, after the fact, we would get iTunes and all of that other stuff.
Oh,
but
yeah.
It is four platforms on there, but the ad looks awesome, and I can't thank you enough for that. Because now everybody going to see that. They got those souvenir books.
Yes. Well, I mean, like, when you called me about the ad, at first I didn't know exactly what it was for, but, the thing is, one thing about me and you, we work, even though we're not in the same place, we find a way to work good together as a team. And when I finally realized what you wanted and needed, I was able to create it for you. And hey, it was my pleasure. I mean, that's one reason why I'm on your team now, is because I believe in what you're doing with Black College Experience. And it was fun to create because when I started making it, and we're gonna go on, it was just fun to make that and just showcase what your hard work and what we've been building for the past couple of years. Congratulations on having a good weekend. And you're still on the road, right? Or how close are you home?
I am almost there, probably less than an hour. I'm almost there. I'm just hoping that my New Orleans Saints can close it out and make me happy for the weekend. That's all I need is for the Saints to close it out and make me happy.
Well, speaking of two teams that could not close it out, before we move on to other HBCU games, what's going on with Grambling? They are 0-4, and this definitely isn't sitting well with Graham fam. I know a lot of Grambling fans are trying to keep a strong face, but they have to be panicking after losing to Coach Dooley for the second straight year after giving him so much flack for leaving Grambling. And I guess trying to make like that he wasn't an essential coach or an essential to the Grambling State University football success. But he's now 2-0 coaching against Grambling. And now Grambling picked third in the SWAC West, falls to 0-4. Graham fam cannot. I'm pretty sure Grambling and Coach Fobbs is going to try and really turn this around. But I'm surprised that they're 0-4, 0-2 in the SWAC after two pretty good showings against FBS opponents. So I guess even if you lose the FBS games, when you have pretty good showings, that don't mean nothing when you get into conference play.
Right.
And another.
I I think everybody's surprised by that because we know what Grambling is capable of, and we know that they've had they had really strong seasons as to where once you appeared at Celebration Bowl and you won SWAC championship. So, just seeing that and them able to openly defeat, opponents, and now you get to this, and I never would have guessed that they would be 0-4. In the first 4 games, and especially when you get into conference play, it is, and I know it is. Like you said, it's tough for them. And at this point, you got to ask yourself, because it's not the time. Why are you not closing? Why are you not executing? Is this a coaching issue? What is going on? And that's the thing, because now they play Jackson State as their next game. So what are they going to do differently that they haven't been doing before to execute and win this game?
Well, speaking of Jackson State, and like I said, these are 2 proud programs in the SWAC. 2 very, very proud programs in the SWAC. Basically had 2 of the worst weekends they could have. Jackson State lost to Kentucky State out of the SEAC, and I think they gave up over 300 yards rushing to Kentucky State. To my knowledge, I don't have the stats in front of me right now because we're not going to go over all the stats. I think Kentucky State attempted, 3 passes and completed 1 and just ran wild on that supposed to be vaunted Tiger defense. What do you think about Kentucky State, Kels?
Well, Kentucky State, they did bring in a new coach, and I got an opportunity to talk to that coach at CA Media Day, and that was, it's one of the things he was talking about is the execution and the closing of his games, and so we can see that now. When initially I had a conversation with 2010, I was like, okay, Kentucky State, but of course, I picked Jackson State to win that game. I didn't think Kentucky State, again, with new coaching and that culture trying to kind of, because they weren't. I think they were picked like maybe 3rd, 4th on their side to win. Like that's where they were predicted to finish. So seeing that, it did kind of surprise me. But like I said, we go back to not even 3 years or 2 years ago, before they had a coaching change. In the SEAC championship, they beat Tuskegee. So it could be a very real where we're seeing a different culture coming for this Kentucky State Thoroughbreds team.
You're right. They were winning the SEAC title a few years back, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people didn't think that Jackson State would lose this game, but 3 people in our pick'em did, and that is Sheldon out of Grambling, my good friend and brother. He picked Kentucky State to beat Jackson State. Renee Williams also picked Shelton Berry, Renee Williams. And the 3rd person was Tremaine Scott. Who would have thought?
So while you're there, Shelton predicted everybody's loss but Grambling is what he did. Everybody was going to lose, but he didn't know they was going to lose.
Yeah. So I when I saw it, I said, who are these people picking? Kentucky State? And I don't go in there and spoil it until the end. I want to wait until the very end and see who win, who pick who. So I make sure I don't spoil it. But it was shocking to see that. Now, before we get out of here, we want to talk about two things in the MEAC. First off, the dominance of North Carolina A&T. Kels, they're looking like the favorites again. Kels?
Yes, I'm here. North Carolina A&T, they just straight. I actually got a chance to watch them play in Delaware State. I don't know what Delaware State's run game, I don't know what it was. The blocking was off, the tackle, everything that looked like anything was horrible. Mm-hmm. That game was over in the first half.
It was.
The game was over in the first half. But you were forced to sit through and watch it. And I sat there and I watched it. And I changed the channel thinking, I was like, because if they score one more time, it's really going to be. But you can't help but to imagine what the athletes or the players on Delaware State side was thinking. You can only that's got to be a blow to your ego. Coach Washington is over there, he's doing his thing. He's just over there doing his thing with A&T. It's like they haven't missed a beat. They have not missed a beat.
Yes, and before we get out of here, got 5 minutes left. Let's run down these 3 games. Florida A&M defeated Norfolk State. I watched that game on ESPN3. Good competitive game. NC Central defeated Morgan State. So Coach Tyron Wheatley still winless in his debut. And Bethune-Cookman defeated Howard 37-29. But the big talk about Howard, and this news came out midweek, Caylin Newton did not play. And Kels, the reason why he did not play is he's saying he might redshirt. There isn't talk of transfer yet, but that hit home for you. I think it hurt you, as far as because you feel like he may be leaving an HBCU and going to a bigger school. From reading your reactions to that, were my assumptions correct? Because I know how passionate you are about HBCU. So we know this new transfer rule has impacted college football on the FBS and a Group of 5 level, but it hasn't really impacted us down here at the FCS level and HBCUs outside of the quarterback for North Carolina Central, which no one really made any noise about. But Caylin Newton, he is a name. He is a star. He is a award winner. He is a preseason MEAC Offensive Player of the Year. He is a Cam Newton's little brother. So talk about your feelings when you saw the news that first off he wasn't going to play, and there's a chance that he might redshirt or even transfer away from Howard.
When I initially saw the breaking news, is what they called it, on Friday, somebody was like, oh, is this true? And I'm like, well, anytime it's coming from ESPN, Jay Walker, and Tiffany Green, you tell me if you think it's true or not. I don't think they're going to put a lie out there. So if it's coming from them, I'm 95% sure or more that it's true. And just, what was said is that, of course, they were getting ready to bench him because of coaching changes, and they're running a full-style offense that he doesn't fit in. So what's happening now, you talk about you're going to redshirt for the rest of the season. It's just like you said, now this is what's happening with this transfer portal. It's allowing kids to, hey, I don't want to go through a losing season. I can get out. I can just dip. I ain't got to take it. It's what it's doing. And, when some kids do it, nobody flinches. But when he talks about doing it, it's, oh, he can't take, oh, he wouldn't, oh, he is. And it is, you didn't ask to be Cam Newton's little brother, but that's what you are. I got a chance to meet him at the Black College Football Hall of Fame in Charlotte. I got a chance to talk to him there. So you didn't ask to be Cam Newton's little brother, but that's what you are. And it's like you kind of went off the unbeaten path. You went to HBCU. Mm-hmm. So to actually see that and to see that you might be considering another option, it does. It kind of hurts because somebody will pick you up, and then you'll go on, and then you'll be a star, and then next thing you know, you're somewhere playing in the NFL, and you're like, dang, why we couldn't just do that? Why did we not have our stuff together? So it did. It really hit hard. Like, is this what we're coming to? Because, again, you didn't ask to be Cam Newton's brother, but that's who you are, and it's kind of like a standard. And I guess, like a month or so ago, whenever we had the conversation when they were calling him a football player instead of a quarterback, I think it's all kind of shade and all kind of stuff that's coming against him. Right. And adversity that he's come up against a couple of things, adversity that he's gotten over. And I think this is right here is just like a full-on blow where he's just like, he's done.
Right. PP, do you have any comments on the Caylin Newton situation?
No, it was kind of shocking. It came out of nowhere, but I just hope he just makes the best decision for him. That's all I'm going to say on that.
Yes, indeed. And you have to look at it. He started ever since he was a true freshman. There's a coaching change. And you also have to look at the domino effect. Look at Houston. De'Aaron King, another, I guess you can say, shorter, mobile quarterback in the same mold as Caylin Newton, does the same thing. But this guy was a starting quarterback. and he had a chance. He had an opportunity to potentially go pro after his senior year. He red shirts, and so when you have this happen, it gets everybody's eyes, everybody's attention. But I guess we're gonna have to wait and see what happens at the end of the season. Of course, we're gonna be all over. We're gonna give our analysis of it. We're out of time, so Kels, go ahead and close us out as you make your way back home to the A.
Okay, so I'm almost back home. Thank you for joining us for yet another week of Black College Sports. It's been a busy weekend. I have another busy week coming up as we embark on Alabama A&M's homecoming, which is where I'm traveling to, before I make my way to the wonderful state of Alabama, which is home for me, Huntsville. I will be making my family proud in my matriculation as I graduate with my master's this weekend. It's another busy weekend for me. I'm tired. I'm done, but it had to be done.
Congratulations, Kels. I'm so proud of you with everything you do. You work, you volunteer, you mentor, you put up with me, you study, you cover football games. I mean, man, you deserve the kudos that you get. And then you check into the hotel, and your name was on the TV.
Everybody said they saw it before, so everybody started telling me. I said, oh, well, I guess I just don't know nothing. I ain't never saw it before. So I was like, why is my name on the TV? I never saw that. And they was like, oh, yeah, Keisha, that's the Marriott. I was like, oh, my bad. I guess I'm late. I was so behind, but yes, it was. I'm so behind.
But make sure you check in with us next week, and also listen to us on Spotify, listen to us on Spreaker, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, anywhere that you can find Black College Experience. Please listen to our podcast, give us feedback, give us a rating. We want to know how we're doing. We want to know what you want to hear. And thank you for calling and supporting Black College Experience. We are out of here.
Good night.